Hey there, I wanted to walk you through the process we go through to create these social graphics for Instagram. And what we usually are working with is a photo of a podcast guest. This person is a guest of mine on my show, or they might be one of our podcasting clients that recorded a podcast episode. They said something interesting, quotable, a soundbite, and they said something that can be expressed on a social media post such as this. Internet buyers are searching for one thing, the solution to a problem. This is said by David Kavanaugh on my show, and you see the components are the photo of the guest, the quote they said, their name, and then some information about usually the URL of the podcast episode and a logo of some kind of the podcast that they were on. Small tweaks can take your site from 0 to hero. And so these are square graphics. They are Instagram sized. And here are some more examples. There we have David Snyder with a photo of him, a quote, and then information about his podcast. And when we can, we usually try to have a web address, a URL in the link that we provide. Here's some more examples. Steve Young. So in this case, this is just of him, but we usually have a quote from this person that we can share on social media. So when you get a task such as this, where it says that this is a quote from Evan Money, and he has URLs such as trueloveknots.com, evanmoneylive.com, at Evan Money. And then we have provided many different photos of him for you to find one. And if it has someone else, do your best to sometimes crop it out where it's just him, sometimes not. Just grab random photos of this person and use them in your social graphics. And so how do you make these types of social graphics? Where you go to canva.com, we'll give you the login for that. And if there's already a document that's been created. So for example, if you've previously been working on some marketer of the day graphics for Steve Young, what's interesting about Canva is you can click on add page, or you can click on this duplicate page and then use this as a starting point for additional quotes from this person. But in this case, we don't have any graphics created yet for Evan Money. So we will go to create a design on the top right and Instagram post. And if you don't see Instagram in this list, search the term Instagram, and we are looking for the one that is a 1080 times 1080 pixel size. You click on that, and the steps to do anything in Canva is number one, choose your template, so that way they give you a starting point. And then number two, use the uploads tab here to add the photos of the guest that we gave to you. And then step number three is to adjust what's already there, and you might have to maybe use the elements to change up graphics, or the text tool to add your own text or change the text that's there. So let me walk you through what happens. And so we have an Instagram post here, and here's where we can title it. And the task here, if I can find it again, is Evan Money Social Graphics. So we'll just name it that, Evan Money Social Graphics. And we need to start with a template of some kind. And so if we click on some of these topics, based on what you saw earlier, some of the graphics you saw, what would go well with some of the photos of him? Well, I guess we could start off and say, there's this one with the person on the bicycle, and what if we replaced the photo of the person on the bike with Mr. Evan Money? Well, we go to Upload and go to Upload Media, and I think, so I've saved all of these photos from the Asana task that we had before. And let's say we dragged this one of him and his wife, just dragged it over and replace what that was there with the bicyclist. And then if we zoom in some so we can see a little better, we can say he is at Evan Money, and then find a graphic. So how about this? When my workday ends, whatever time that is, I'll leave my phone at my desk and close the door. So we will copy that text, and so a problem off the bat is that the text is already too small. So let's try to maybe rearrange some things. So if we can, there's the text. Can we change the size of the shape? Not really. Let me try to, what does that let me do? Okay, so maybe we'll delete some of the, I do like the top. So we will keep the top shape, but then we just can't do much with this other shape. And maybe we'll go to elements, try to find a shape that might work a little better for us. So maybe like this one. Well, this one we can kind of size closer to what we want. So now we can do this. And one important thing with Canva is be really mindful of things lining up in the center. So you might have to drag until you see like a solid line in places. And then here, maybe we'll say like, to make this match the style, when my work day ends, and we'll say whatever time that is. And we do need to make some more room, and maybe center and ungroup. Let me try to kind of rearrange that just right. Make that centered, and rearrange that just right. Let me make the, maybe we'll play with the text like that. And I like to, if I can, kind of make the text not look too clumped together. And then maybe we'll add some text because we said, let's see, in the Asana task that we have evanmoneylive.com as one of his graphics. So we'll add a subheading. Just click that. You can paste in evanmoneylive.com, and then experiment with the font size and things like that. Maybe we'll try putting this near the top and then try to find another shape. I do like the heart in some of these. And so I guess we'll try, what did we just have? We used this shape before. Let's kind of put this on the top, whoops, in the top corner here. Sort of do something like that. And then, oh, they won't let us get us closer to that. And then maybe make that color. Okay, so that's how we make one of the social graphics. And then instead of creating a whole other document, if you have a lot of these to create, just click on Add Page, go back to the templates. And I didn't like the way that turned out because we had to change it so much. I'm usually happier when we don't have to, when it's almost all the way done. So it's very important here that we clicked Add Page and that we are working with a blank page in the document before adding a template, because clicking on the template on the left will just overwrite what we already have here. So start with a blank page and click on this template, and you see now we still have that first page that we had, but now we have the second one. And let's look at what photo we can drop in. So we don't have a lot to choose from, but I kind of like this. If we drag and put that over there, that works. The stars don't really apply that much. And looking at this, hopefully there's like a very short sentence we can use. Comparison, oh yeah, I like that. So we'll do this. We'll say comparison is the thief of joy. We'll right click and copy that, and we'll paste this in. And clearly we'll have to really adjust the font size here. So I already have an idea of what I want to do here. And then what should you focus on and work on? So what I want to do is, won't let me underline, but maybe we can, all caps doesn't work, okay. And so something else I want to do here is, I want to copy, Control C, and paste, Control F, and I want to do comparison is huge. So we center that, make that fairly big, center that, and then maybe shrink that. It might be too small. Well, we'll make it a little wider so we make the text larger. Comparison is the thief of joy. What should you focus on and work on? Guess that works. And then for the, I'll just copy this and use this for evanmoneylive.com. evanmoneylive.com. And then we'll do it. Yeah, whoops. Okay. And then maybe we'll do just his name. And here's something you don't always see is unclick this uppercase. Whoops. And now we can have uppercase and we have the caps lock off. I think. Okay, yes. And we position like that. Okay, I'm happy with that. I'll move my head so you can kind of see what the graphic ended up looking like. Maybe we'll move this down slightly. Okay. And so let's continue with another example here. So let's try, and stay away from the animated post. We don't want to make an animated graphic, just a still graphic. And if you're really stuck, if you're scrolling through and you're like, well, I don't know about like a travel one, then I sometimes go to the search box and search like quote graphic. So sometimes we can just drop in the graphic and maybe make the colors brighter and drop in a photo of him. So we can say, decide on a very long-term goal. What are you living for? I like that. So we can paste that in. We do an italic. Ooh, cool. All right. But then these colors are kind of bland. It's brown. So you click over on this top left graphic and we might just really spruce this up here. And go for something like that. Money. And then we'll say trueloveknots.com. And then if we wanted to have his photo in here, if we thought we could fit him in here, if you just click on with the upload, it drops him right in. And sometimes we can play with that. Sometimes we can kind of make it large like that and then play around with the transparency and kind of, yeah, I guess I like how that turns out, right? And then we can send to back and then maybe put the quote like there instead, right? That way he's not totally covered up like that. So that's one option, right? That's one thing we can do. We can kind of put him there in the background. Something else we could do is if we go through these templates and if we search, I wonder, like thought or thought leader. I wonder if author gives us something. So see, here's another interesting idea, some of these, where we can say, what quote could we do? Want a better life, ask better and specific questions. So we can click on that. And then in the, so we can like kind of drag that and replace the background with that. And then copy that quote and do like ... and make that fit. And do we need to ungroup or get that out of the way and say Evan Money, guest on trueloveknots.com at Evan Money. And so then one thing I was doing a moment ago was we search, let me see, templates, and we were looking at these Instagram posts, and one caught my eye. I think it was one of the travel ones, because some of his photos looked kind of travel-y. So I kind of like this one with them near the bridge. And some of these, there can be like bullet points or they can be photos. So, I like this with the photos. Because here's what we could do, is we could go to the uploads, and we can go to this one with them and the kids. Oh, we'll get that fit a little better. And then this with just them. Okay. And then, so could say, let me look at how I can. So the airplanes don't really apply. But I'm looking at the graphic where he says happily ever isn't a place to be discovered. So I'm picturing we have this text on top, and then you and your partner must create it together. So if we maybe take out, can we not take out the search blob? Yeah, it won't let us do that. So let's try to find a different element. If we can find another one of these oval things, like cylinders, we just want the bar with the rounded sides. Might not find that. Might have to settle just on something like this, which, like, that's not too bad. We don't need the city view, beach view, but we can say happily ever after. I need to add some text. And not sure what would be a good font. I'm not really a fan of these handwriting fonts. So isn't a place to be discovered. And then we'll make a copy down. Well, let's try without that. the punchline is you and your partner must create it together with your daily actions and attitudes. Line that. And then I'm just sort of picturing near the bottom, Evan Money. And what was his URL? evanmoneylive.com. We will try rights justified and just be really careful about making the text too small or too much text in a block on a graphic. Do you want to do one more? Let's do one more and then see how we like what we've created. So I did have in my mind, I do want to have a list. And I'm looking for so the only list I see is like this one: married and miserable, divorced and desperate, single and cynical. So let me go back and create a new page. So we were working in a new blank page. Find a template. And that I do like that with like the window. Maybe we'll look at our uploads, just get our imagination going. There's them at the football field. There's them looking at each other with the window. I do like the happily ever after. So let's use this template. Go to their uploads and drop in their graphic. And if you ever end up in this situation where it's kind of cut off in that way, you can double click and you can kind of readjust your graphic within the window. Like their text is sort of in there. So there's them without their text peeking up, right? And now that we have the photo, so let's do this. For your life to get better. We'll make this all caps. So for your life to get better, you must get better. And we'll move some of this up to get more room. And we'll say evanmoneylive.com, trueloveknots.com. Need to resize the button. Reposition it carefully. And group both of those so it's one piece. And I don't like how spaced out these are, so we can go to this spacing and adjust the line spacing slightly. Okay. And then we've got the top, we need the punchline. Let's see if we can just fit it all in there. Centered and larger. I like the size of that if we can fit it all, which we might not be able to. Be really careful about the spacing. Don't jam it together too much. bold that. Okay, so that is how we create some of these social graphics. There's some examples of many different styles where we kind of use all of the photos of a person, one per graphic, and try to apply them in different formats. And if we look at the templates, and we were going to try this one, right? We were going to try. There was something where he said, like, here's what I thought. At a young age, I only saw 3 options when it came to relationships. And if we can put that in. And in this case, I'm not sure I want to have a photo of him. And so for this, we might go to photos. And we might go to, like, try, like, miserable. And I mean, there's some interesting ones here, or like divorce, or, ooh, yeah, like that, right? They're kind of facing away, and we can kind of position them inside the cell phone, right? And we can play with it, because maybe we can position it where, like, you can't even see their faces. Maybe not, so we'll shrink that down some. And just shrink that down to fit. 3 options when it came to relationships. And he said, married and miserable, divorced and desperate. We'll try ampersand, and we'll try all caps. Divorced and desperate, and single and cynical. And we don't need a 4th one. And then maybe even change the icon to like an X, or like won't let us replace that, will it? Darn it. Sometimes you can just drop it in right in there. So maybe we can make it, there we go, super tiny. And then copy that, place those right in there. Okay, and so yeah, we made many different, so let's see, in 28 minutes, so about 5 minutes a piece. It's okay if it maybe takes you 10 minutes a piece at first, but sometimes we'll just ask you to sit down for 30 minutes, for 60 minutes. We'll give you some quotes, we'll give you some URLs, we'll give you some photos, and then you you find a template in the 1080 by 1080 pixel Instagram format. You find a template, you place on a blank page, you add any of the photos that we have you upload, we have you drop in a quote. You do your best to make the quote fit and to really pop if it's on social media. We hate big blocks of text, we hate small text, and many times with these templates, the colors can sometimes be drab. They can be black, gray, brown, and if possible, we like to use super bright colors. And I'll give you one last tip with Canva and these social graphics. I keep saying I'm done, I'm almost done, but one last thing we want to do is, let's say we were going to drop in this picture of the beach, right? and we were going to drop in a quote, and so I'm not really sure how to use this one. So what we'll do is we'll say, let me use text. I'll add a heading. I'll paste the text in here, and we'll just kind of get the text in here first, one problem at a time. And so let's say we're in a situation where we found get it positioned. Can't get it positioned just right. Okay, so we found a graphic. Ooh, that's better. We found a template. We found text, but we're like, I'm not really sure how to fit the photo of the person that we have. And so let's say that we're going to use this one of them being married at the football stadium. And we say, well, I can't really drop it in like that. So my secret weapon many times is to go to elements, and then instead of shapes, we're looking for frames. Now, what's a frame? Well, a frame is, you can click on this and it gives you a shape, and then you can drag a photo that you have into it, and you see how it patterns it in the way that the frame is. And it's kind of two pictures in one. And so we can click on See All Frames, and I usually personally prefer a frame that has a border around it. I usually like the circular because you don't see it as often. But I mean, we can try different things. We can try dropping in this into the, actually I kind of like that with the square frame. And so what I was looking for originally was to find something like this, where you click on it and then you click on these colors, and you can give it like a circular frame, and then you drag that inside, and then maybe we can enlarge the photo a little bit. But looking at it now with all the squareness, I'm thinking if we get a frame that is more of the circular one, well, not with the jagged edges, but a circular frame, and then make it white like the rest of this, then you can position it like this, uploads, and then we double clicked to get access to the original photo and to kind of position it like that. And then we can say text and evanmoneylive.com. Maybe position that there. And then say trueloveknots.com. Okay, and so yeah, sometimes if you can't quite make a photo work the way that you want it to, get a frame so that way it can be, as the name says, framed inside of so that's exactly centered, so maybe we'll get it a little bit further down. But yeah, get it framed inside of something else that makes more sense. And so once you are done with the graphics tasks, many times we tell you just mark it as done. We'll find it in the Canva account. But if you ever need to dump out these graphics and use them for social media or something similar, you can go to this download button, file type, PNG, always save as a PNG, and then we want to say all pages and download. And this will download all of the graphics. And I think that one of these is a, one of these is an animation, but I guess we'll just undo what we did there. Didn't realize this was an animation. And wish there was a way to maybe undo that, but not sure if there is. But anyway, what we ended up with when we save this is just the graphics all in different image files for us to use on social media. And that is a quickie crash course on how to use Canva for the social graphics. There's no save button. Once you're done, just exit the browser or click home, and then it's right back here. And if you ever need to pick up later, you can go to Canva and go to all your designs. And this is why naming it is so important, because now we can see that these are the Evan Money social graphics. And then many times you can just go to the bottom and add the new page for whatever you're working on. Instagram, 1080 by 1080, add a new page, add templates, add uploads, play with elements, text, and photos, and use it and have fun and be creative and use your originality, use your imagination to put together the author photo with the quote, with the URL, with a fancy bright colored design on Canva. Have fun, and thanks for watching.